Thank you to Airalo for sponsoring this video, our eSIM provider of choice, even before they started supporting our channel. Dublin to Yellowknife. That's one of the weirdest tickets I have ever booked. But with it, I can combine two things I've been wanting to do for a while. First, I'll be able to show you what WestJet's economy class product is like on one of the transatlantic flights they operate with Boeing 737 MAXes, taking it from Dublin to Halifax. Then we'll do two domestic flights, first from Halifax to Calgary, and then from there on a Dash 8 Q400 to the capital of the Northwest Territories, Yellowknife. Because the second goal of my trip is to fly aboard one of the rare aircraft types you'll encounter across northern Canada. We'll fly back down to Edmonton aboard a 30-year-old Boeing 737-400 Combi. After operating for KLM, the front half of this plane was modified to transport cargo, including the installation of a main cargo door. The rear, though, remains in use for passengers, with only 78 seats installed. A detailed video about this flight will be out next month, with channel members enjoying early access in the coming days. But first, we need to get to Canada. So without further ado, let's get going. Aviation geeks and frequent flyers, a very good morning from Dublin, WestJet's most important destination in Europe. To Dublin, as of summer 2026, you can take their Boeing 787 Dreamliner 3 times a week from Calgary, a detailed review of which is already available on our channel. Additionally, the airline offers up to 2 daily flights to Toronto, 4 weekly flights to Halifax, and 2 weekly flights to St. John's, meaning that they'll have up to 4 daily flights into Dublin overall. Except for Calgary, all flights are operated by their Boeing 737 MAXes though, and with their range and operational flexibility, WestJet has grown its transatlantic network significantly. In addition to their flights to Dublin, WestJet also uses its Boeing 737 MAXes on numerous other transatlantic routes, many of which are new this summer. You'll find them on all their flights to Iceland, originating in Calgary, Edmonton, and Winnipeg. From Toronto, the 737 MAXes operate all of WestJet's transatlantic routes, to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Cardiff, and the Azores. And from St. John's, Newfoundland, they fly to London and Paris. The most routes by far, though, are offered from Halifax, where WestJet's Boeing 737 MAXes take you to Edinburgh, London, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Paris, Barcelona, and Lisbon. And these flights can be quite cheap to book, but let's find out if they are worth their price. Here in Dublin, WestJet operates out of Terminal 1. The airport also has a Terminal 2, which is only used by flag carrier Aer Lingus and their partners, which WestJet is not. They are closer to SkyTeam, having ties with Air France-KLM, Delta, and Korean Air. In fact, these 3 airline groups own a combined 25% of WestJet, so I'm curious to see if the airline ever makes it into the ranks of SkyTeam. Operating all 4 flights in the morning, they have a sizable check-in area here in Terminal 1. After a quick and easy check-in procedure and a 15-minute wait at security, we made it airside. I highly appreciate Dublin Airport offering €2 bottled water, as well as a free bottle refill station. The home of Ryanair knows that's as cheap as it'll get. We didn't even need to go through passport control here in Dublin, because despite being in the European Union, Ireland is not part of the Schengen zone, and the Schengen zone has exit controls, while Ireland does not. And over there, you can already spot our chariot. Taking us across the pond today is Charlie Golf Zulu Sierra Golf, a 2018-built Boeing 737 MAX 8. It is one of 65 Boeing 737 MAXes in WestJet's fleet, operating alongside a further 89 Boeing 737-700s and 800s, as well as 7 Boeing 787 Dreamliners. As this part of Terminal 1 isn't fitted with jet bridges, we'll take the stairs this morning. Did you know Ryanair is even too stingy for stairs? They bring their own. Yes, really. Boeing developed a set of stairs that is built into the plane and deploys automatically, meaning no need to wait for somebody to bring or take away the stairs, and no need to pay the airport for it. They're by far the most common user of them, but not the only one. WestJet actually has, or had, some that made operating to remote, under-equipped airports operationally easier. I think it's debatable how many zones are too many zones, but I feel like 9 zones for a 737 is a bit overkill. We're boarding low-cost style here in Dublin, without a jet bridge and without a bus. And even the big boys are parked here. This is Bravo 1022. We flew aboard its sister aircraft 1021 back in 2018 from Rome to Chongqing in business class. A report about it is also available on our channel. Entering the plane through the forward door, we're passing 3 rows of business class fitted with Recaro CL4710 recliner seats in a 2-2 configuration. Behind that are 162 economy class seats in the Boeing 737 standard 3-3 layout. Back here, WestJet also went for a Recaro seat model, namely the BL3520. On newer 737 Maxes, they went for Collins Aerospace Meridian seats though. We're in 20F on this 5.5-hour flight to Halifax. Yes, a sub-6-hour transatlantic flight, that's a rare thing, just marginally longer than our connecting flight to Calgary, which will highlight the differences in service between this international and the following domestic flight. Each seat comes with an adjustable headrest. We're also provided with a blanket for this flight. And being 183 centimeters tall, the legroom is nothing special. It's fairly tight for a 6-hour flight and in line with what I would expect an economy class cabin on a North American full-service airline to feel like. A standard tray table is installed as well, and behind it, Recaro's classic high literature pocket. There are some boxes with electric hardware that take away a bit of foot space for middle seat passengers, as if they weren't suffering enough already. We've also got a basic seat back pocket, as well as a personal universal power outlet and a USB-A port beneath the table. On the side of the seats are coat hooks, and in the ceiling above, personal air vents and adjustable reading lights. These newer 737s are fitted with larger overhead bins resembling those of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner and offering significantly more space. As we're getting ready for departure, please allow me to briefly introduce you to Airalo, my eSIM provider of choice, long before they started supporting our channel. Thanks to them, staying connected has been one thing I need not worry about anymore on my travels. On a recent trip to Asia, I simply got my eSIM during a layover in Shanghai while sipping a coffee at the lounge. Simply opening the app, selecting the type of eSIM, I got one for the entirety of Asia as I am visiting multiple countries on that trip. Select the amount of data, they offer anything from a single gigabyte to unlimited data, earn money back that I can use on a future purchase, and simply pay using my phone. Then it took just a bit over a minute to activate the eSIM and I am ready to go. Even as we're taxiing for takeoff, I would still have enough time to get and install an eSIM. Although it's much easier to just get it before your trip. For example, already right now, while watching this video. Its validity will only begin once it connects to a cell tower in the country or region you selected. So why wait and not just tick off one to-do for your next trip already? For a limited time only, viewers of this channel get $3 or €2.50 off their first purchase when downloading the app using the link in the description and using coupon code SIMPLYAVIATION. Go get your travel sidekick and download the Airalo app. Prepare for your next trip, be it in a week, month, or year, by getting your eSIM right now. Thank you to Airalo for sponsoring this video, and now, back to the trip. After climbing out of cloudy Dublin, let's have a look at what WestJet's Inflight Entertainment system has to offer. In contrast to other airlines, which have hardware installed into each seat, WestJet opted for a BYOD, or Bring Your Own Device solution. By connecting to the Wi-Fi portal of the plane, you get access to a variety of TV shows and movies you can stream on demand at no extra charge. An in-flight mapping application is available as well, and you can access the Wi-Fi, either for messaging services only or as an unlimited package. Shortly after departure, the crew also hands out complimentary hot meals. This is the starkest difference to the service the airline offers on its domestic mid-haul flights, as hot meals aren't the norm. A single choice was offered, which was shepherd's pie. Alongside, we got to choose a non-alcoholic beverage, and it's served alongside some butter and a bread roll, a chocolate crunch, and a little salad with vinaigrette. A basic meal that for a 5.5-hour flight is totally alright. Once again, I'd say this is in line with what one would expect from WestJet. The choice is limited, the quality just enough to not want to complain. A lowest common denominator type of lunch service. Although they could have chosen to omit a complimentary meal service entirely, and I appreciate that they didn't. As we're cruising above the Atlantic, let's have a brief look around the cabin. Although there isn't much to show. This aircraft spends most of its life flying domestic sectors, meaning there's nothing specifically tailored for transatlantic routes here. What you see is the standard domestic cabin, simply deployed on a longer flight. Squeezing out every square centimeter of space, newer 737 MAXs and A320neos have extraordinarily small lavatories, and WestJet is no exception here. 3 lavatories for 168 seats also gives us a ratio of 1 per 56 passengers. Not terrible, but also not very good. As we're getting closer to Halifax, the crew offered another round of beverages, alongside a chocolate bar serving as our pre-landing snack. This chocolate caramel shortbread was devilishly delicious. Obviously not a big pre-landing meal service, but you ought to remember this flight is just around 5.5 hours, and for that, it's great. With that, we're already descending into Halifax, bringing the first of 3 flights today to an end. Welcome to Canada.
Welcome to beautiful Halifax, where the local time is 11:17. As we taxi to the gate, please remain seated with those seatbelts fastened and all your carry-on bags stowed until the aircraft is safely parked at the gate and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Smoking is only permitted in designated smoking areas, but you may now connect your personal electronic device to a network. Any guests that do require the crew's assistance leaving the aircraft are asked to remain seated until all the other guests have deplanes.
Thank you. Crossing ocean again.
Being our point of entry into the country, we need to clear passport control here in Halifax. Coming in alongside just a bit more than half the passengers a twin-aisle aircraft would bring in meant that the queue didn't get too long and we were done with everything in no time. A booster juice at the airport. Oh, we arrived in Canada, alright. The 3:30 p.m. to Calgary, that's ours. But we still have a few hours to kill here at the airport before continuing. Charlie Golf Foxtrot Juliet Delta, a 2023 built Boeing 737 MAX 8, will take us over to Calgary today. Flight time 5 hours. It is fitted with the same types of seats as our previous 737, just with some newer trims and finishes. Other than that, there isn't anything new to show here, so let's get on with our journey. Aboard flights within the Americas, WestJet does not offer complimentary hot meals. You can choose from a variety of non-alcoholic beverages and get some nibbles like pretzels at no extra charge. Larger snacks, hot dishes, as well as alcoholic beverages are available for purchase on board. Now it's time to say goodbye to Nova Scotia and head on over all the way to Alberta. This domestic flight is very similar to what you'd find aboard other major North American carriers. We got our beverage of choice and a pack of pretzels, and other than that, we can make use of the power ports, stream something on our personal electronic devices, or just get some rest. Nothing too noteworthy happens on flights like these. Towards the end of this 5-hour flight, we're being offered another round of beverages and pretzels. Now we're off to our second and final transfer of the day, heading to catch our Q400 up to Yellowknife. Oh, Calgary has such a great airport, I love it here. Big, clean windows to enjoy the view, easy to follow signage. The airport isn't unique in any way, but it does very well with the basics, and I enjoy transiting here. Back when we did a video about WestJet's Boeing 787 Dreamliner, we even covered what an international to international transit here looks like, and even that went very smoothly. And here she is, our ride up to the Northwest Territories. Charlie Golf Whiskey Echo Juliet, a 2017 built -8 Q400, one of around 35 Q400s in WestJet's fleet, operated by its regional subsidiary WestJet Encore. With a slight delay, we're off to our final flight of this trip. This Q400 is fitted with 78 seats, which appear to be the regional jet version of the Jevin Essenza, I believe. Don't quote me on that though. The seats are basic but modern and come with a high literature pocket, a tray table, decent legroom for somebody who's 183 centimeters tall, and a seatback pocket. They also offer a bit of recline, removable armrests, but do not come with adjustable headrests. For a plane that doesn't do flights longer than 2 hours, that's a fine seat though. And with such a small aircraft, boarding was done in no time, and we're ready to head up north. While the complimentary selection seems to be the same, these Q400s come with a different buy-on-board selection, as the plane is likely not fitted with ovens, and just smaller galleys in general, meaning the selection is reduced by a bit.
Les mesures de sécurité suivantes. Vous trouverez devant vous une carte des mesures de sécurité concernant cet avion. Veuillez en suivre avec nous les points importants. La cabine est munie de voyants concernant les ceintures et l'interdiction de fumer. Veuillez vous y conformer en tout temps. Il est interdit de fumer.
Oh, what a beautiful evening to fly. As we're beginning our descent into Yellowknife, I must say WestJet is a fine airline. In general, Canada isn't blessed with good airlines. We have a whole video where we've dove into Air Canada's long-haul economy product, and Canada being such a large country, so far away from the rest of the world, except for the United States, it needs its airlines. There simply is no other practical way to go there or to get around there other than by plane. And this means the value airlines like Air Canada and WestJet deliver stem from the flights themselves, basic transportation by air. They don't need to be good because you don't have another choice. And WestJet, I would say, is very good at giving you the exact things you need without spending a loony too much. The legroom is alright, but just barely. The personal power port is needed and appreciated. The hot meal on the transatlantic flight was good, but small and simple. There are no amenities apart from the blanket. The complimentary beverage selection leaves little to be desired, and the onboard entertainment and Wi-Fi were pretty standard too. So all in all, I had a good time on WestJet. Things worked, the flights weren't too pricey, and if you go in with the right expectation, the airline is a solid choice. With that, welcome to Yellowknife. I can't even say this is the northernmost flight we've ever taken because we've been to the northernmost airport with regularly scheduled flights on a previous trip. You know which airport I mean? Take a guess in the comments. I'll leave a link to that video at the bottom of the description. After 11 PM and still light out, I love the far north. At least that time of year. Special thanks go out to Airalo for sponsoring this video. They're my eSIM provider of choice and I highly recommend them. Get $3 or €2.50 off your first purchase when downloading the app using the link in the description and coupon code SIMPLYAVIATION. And I also want to extend special thanks to all those who continue to support our work with a paid channel membership. But whether you are a channel member, a subscriber, or were simply stopping by for this one video, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again for a new video very soon, and until then, safe travels.